let me give you the third reason why, if you're not getting referrals, and I think this is the biggest reason, if you're asking. Now, if you're not asking, you're not getting. But if you're asking for referrals and introductions and you're not getting, here's the number one biggest reason. And if you get nothing from this call other than this, it's going to be worth your time. I think the reason most of us don't get referrals if you're asking is the way we ask at best is ineffective. Most of us just aren't very good in the act of asking for referrals, because most of us, the way we ask is too vague and too general. And we're saying things like, hey, Brandon, if you know anybody that you can refer to me, I'd sure appreciate it. By the way, here's a couple cards. Don't keep me a secret. And what they're doing is they look at you square in the eye and they say, Brandon, if I can think of anybody, buddy, I'll sure let you know. But the phone doesn't ring. And it doesn't ring because two things. Number one, the minute you leave that interaction, they're not thinking about you. I hate to tell you that, guys. They're not thinking about you. But number two, it's the vagueness of which you ask. If you know anybody that you can refer to me, I'd sure appreciate it. The vagueness of which you ask, they can't think of anybody. They know a lot of people, but you've asked in such a vague, general terms. Guys, they don't really know what you do. They still think you help people with an opinion on Apple in the market. They don't have a clue of all the different things that you help people with. So my suggestion, guys, and you can start this today, my suggestion is as you go out and you start asking for more introductions and referrals, you got to be specific. You got to be specific. The day of the generalization of saying, do you know anybody you can refer to me? Guys, that day's over. It doesn't work. I just don't run into people who have success with that anymore. So you got to be specific. So how do you do it? So let me give you a best practice. And if you have a piece of paper and pencil, I'm going to give you some wording that I got from a very, very successful advisor on the West Coast and how he goes about generating referrals. So if he's talking to a natural prospect, maybe he's at church or maybe he's taking somebody to lunch that he knows, here's the first thing he'll say to him. He'll say, Brandon, first of all, I don't know. If you knew anybody that you thought could get value out of what we do here on my team, would you feel comfortable introducing them to us? So that's your first question, is if you knew anybody that you thought could get value out of what we do here on our team, would you feel comfortable introducing them to us? And he said, Jack, 9 out of 10 times they say yes. Very few people say no to that question. Because usually what they'll say is, well, sure, but I can't think of anybody right now. So here's what you say next. You say, well, Brandon, can I take just a second and tell you the type of people that we help the best, who we work mostly with? Sure. He says, well, as you can imagine, what we do is we help people with their investments. We help people with retirement strategies. By the way, I tell people that because that's what they think you do. We help people with their investments and retirement strategies. But probably where we spend most of our time, Brandon, is simply helping families right here in the area who are going through transitions in their life that impact them financially. By the way, write that phrase down. We help families who go through transitions in their life that have an impact on them financially, such as when they sell a business, when they get downsized, when they retire from a company, they come into inheritance, they go through a death or a divorce, or they plan kids' education, but they go through transitions in their life that have an impact on them financially. That's where we help. And then what he does is he gets very specific about where you might come in contact with people who are going through those transitions. And he'll say, Brandon, I've known you for a long time, and you've been down here at the company, what? It's got to be going on 20 years? Who do you know down there that maybe is thinking about retiring? Or better yet, do you know anybody that recently retired or gave their notice? Or I don't know, within your department, is there anybody that they hired from an outside firm that they promoted into a management position? Or I know how involved you are down here at the church. Who do you know down there that, I don't know, sold a business or came into an inheritance or just going through a change in their life that typically would impact them financially? The more specific, guys, the more specific you can be about that, the easier it is for them to start thinking about somebody. So starting today, guys, you got to be specific. So let me get a couple reactions on that. So